Welcome to the Jerry's Live After Party, where we take a high-definition look at some of the things we attempt to show you while we stream through Facebook Live.
Yes.
And until they get that quality up to par for our artistic needs, we will continue to put these out here so you can get a better idea of some of the things we were discussing today. Although we had no idea what it was because we discussed the events of a live show after the fact, before the fact.
Yeah. You know,
Okay.
we'll hit it one place or the other.
Well, yeah, eventually. So today was acrylic mediums?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, acrylic mediums beyond just kind of the basic. We talked about those in our first acrylic broadcast, but now we're going in depth into, you know, there's so many different things. And if you've never seen them in person or used them, something being called coarse pumice gel
What does that mean?
doesn't mean squat to you. So we've taken a lot of these mediums that you just don't get a chance to see if you can't get into a store where they maybe have swatches there to see, and laid them all out so it's a little easier to kind of know what you need.
Well, let's get started. It looks like we're getting started thick.
Yes.
Thickly, bigly.
Yes. We're starting with the big heavy stuff right up front here.
All right. Well, where are we going to jump into this right up here?
Right. Basically what I've done is most brands have all of these for the most part. I'm not going to say that every single brand has these, but the bigger kind of top three that we carry have a pretty good variety of one of these. So if it says a particular brand, don't think that that's the only place that has it. Look at the other brands that you might like. It's just I grabbed some from kind of everybody. So this is the Golden Extra Heavy Gel and Molding Paste. Now, these were done last night, so there's going to be a little bit of sheen difference because some of them aren't completely dry. Your heavier stuff is going to, you know, tend to dry a little bit slower. But this is where you want to build a lot of texture, where you want to actually color it because it's got that nice light color. But like we were having the discussion earlier, you can do this first, then paint later. It's going to save you some paint, essentially, you know, because you can just paint right over the top of it. But not everybody prefers to do that either.
Instead of just tinting that, which now, okay, so I'm going to jump around a little bit here. We've got the Golden Coarse Modeling Paste. Now, modeling paste has things like talc in it, you know, which will, if you add paint directly to this, it will give it more of a pastel-y look.
Right.
With this extra heavy gel, though, if you add enough color, will it tint your color the way the modeling paste will?
It's gonna be more saturated than this, I think. Just from having used some of these in the past, it doesn't take as much color to try to get it up to, you know, whatever color you're actually using.
But is there additives like talc or something in this the same as in the
I think they put silicas where they're clear, so you're not gonna have the, you know, the modeling paste is designed to be kind of more white.
Sure.
Good thing to do is read the labels or the descriptions before you purchase it if that's important to you, because most of them will give you right off the bat kind of what that's going to do, if it's going to you know, really thin your color out, if it's going to take a lot more color, if it's going to make it, you know, more pastel-y, that type of thing.
And you can see just, you know, how heavy of a build that we were able to get with that, and then, you know, moving downward here to the modeling paste. Now, modeling paste is heavier.
Yes.
Because of those additives in it. So when would be a good application for using something like modeling paste versus, say, a heavy gel?
Well, with the heavy gel, what most companies will come right out and say that this is carvable.
Right.
So you can actually put it on and then reduce it with a knife or an X-Acto or something like that. So instead of it always being an additive, you can do some subtractive. So you can make it kind of more sculptural. If there's places that you built it up a little too thick, you can take some off. A gel is always going to be more flexible. Okay, anytime it says gel, it's got a lot more resin. It's going to be very flexible. It's not going to have drier mediums put in it. They're going to make it not so paste. Not as flexible as a gel. So that's a good kind of rule of thumb to go by. So that's something really neat that you've got that subtractive ability. Paste is usually going to be lighter. Gel is going to be heavier.
Even modeling paste is going to be lighter?
Yes,
okay.
it's when you've got the jar, feeling the two, it's ridiculously light compared to the, I mean, not that it's not the lightest. There's some that are going to be lighter, but it's much lighter than the heavy gel because it doesn't have all those resins in it.
Okay.
So that's kind of the difference between that.
Now, pumice, you know, comes in different granulations, you know, from extra coarse to fine.
Right.
Jumping into the fine, I'm looking at that versus the modeling paste, and it looks kind of similar in terms of its consistency, where, you know, the the coarse stuff definitely looks like sand.
Right.
But these two are the same. So how would I choose?
This is actually smoother feeling as you're
Okay.
applying it than this. When I did these, all I did was dipped it in and pulled like 3 strokes.
Okay.
That leveled, it went on much smoother than this did, but this is lighter,
Right.
because it doesn't have that pumice in it. So that's going to be kind of your big difference if you want more leveling. Even if you want, some people use these actually for the color. Maybe they're making something look like stone.
I painted a fish tank once, and I just left this as the gravel at the bottom.
That's actually a really...
Well, I'm lazy. Yeah. And what you'll also notice here is, like we said, we did this recently. The coarse and fine are a little bit more dry. Here, the extra coarse, you see how it kind of still has a little bit of a milky look to it. That's because it's still wet. So as it dries, it will set up closer to a color of sand as those acrylic polymers dry out and the water gets out of it, and it will turn clear, just like Elmer's glue.
Right. So, and that's something that we'll put a shot of it kind of somewhere in here that they'll be able to see them once they're dry. You can see this, especially on this, the high solid gel. It's very, very white here. It's much lighter around here. So that's kind of, you can see that that's still drying.
So, we have it labeled here, semi-gloss, gloss. I think people, understand that. So we have a heavy gel, extra heavy gel, high solid gel. So this is the top most heavy building?
Yes, this is going to help you kind of make peaks and valleys.
More than the extra heavy gel?
They're very similar. This is, because it's molding, you can kind of shape and form it. If you're doing more 3D stuff, you can actually use it to kind of obtain more of a sculptural effect. This is just the thickest of the gels. That's why they call it a high solid.
Without adding whatever that goes into the molding paste.
Right,
Okay.
right. Now with these, basically they do these, some of them in matte as well. It's just, I wanted to put the different glosses so you knew which was which.
Sure.
You can see kind of where this is more dry, there is quite a bit of difference between the semi-gloss and the gloss. So if it's where you're actually adding your paint in with it, that's going to make the most difference if you really want that higher gloss, to go with the high gloss.
All right, and then we're moving on to these soft gels and semi-regular. I've got like dyslexia there. I'm semi-regular, which means today's an off day.
Yeah.
So these
after taco day, right?
After taco night, which is happening probably right now as you're watching this. If it's right after the after party. When you're using something like gel medium of this caliber, for the most part, it's going to be a good way to extend your paint, but it won't change the viscosity for thicker or thin, better or worse.
Well, the soft gel, unless you're using kind of a soft gel is probably more like a soft body.
So
acrylic.
that will slightly thin your acrylic.
It will thin it slightly if you're using a heavy body acrylic. If you're using a regular soft body, basically you're just adding more acrylic medium to kind of thin that color out and make it more transparent, okay? With the regular, this is going to be more a feel of your most heavy body paints.
These are the ones that are trying to mimic that kind of buttery oil paint feel.
Yes. And then if with the
Matisse?
the thicker gel mediums where you've got the heavy gel, and even the Matisse is a little bit thicker than the Golden's regular gel, that's going to be your highest body. Like if you've got the Lucas Pastos or something like that, that's going to be your higher body, exactly just the same texture as your paint.
Now, and like we said, all these things you can add paint into it, you can paint over it, depending on which one they are. Obviously, if you add paint to pumice gel or modeling paste, it will actually change the color.
Yes.
But one question before we move on from these heavy things is, you're dealing with something heavy, and if you're working on something like stretched canvas, are you worried about saggage? Are you worried about, and how does one...
And customers ask that a lot.
Okay.
You're either going to want to go with cotton is where you're going to get the most slacking, because it's just a material that does stretch. So if you're working very large, especially, you don't want to use cotton. If you can use if you can use a board when you're working with weight or a panel, do that, because a hard surface.
Wood.
If that's not an option, you want something on super heavy duty stretchers with all the bracing that the manufacturer recommends. And go to linen or the new polyester canvases. They don't have that stretching issue, and you want the heaviest weight that you can get for that. So, the reason that I put these by each other, the coarse pumice gel is very heavy because these are natural, and there's also some sand gels that we'll look at when you're holding those containers. This is very heavy. The granular gel gives you that same look, but it's much lighter.
And this is also a little bit more, I don't know, is it more, like, since this is actually natural rock and this is man-made, is this going to be a little bit more consistent in its?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It feels very much the same. This feels like kind of a nice medium between these two.
I see.
But it's giving you, if you're going to be painting over it and you don't want that look of the pumice, that's great because it's giving you that same kind of texture, but not at the weight sacrifice.
So the safety tip is, depending on the surface you're painting on, just be conscientious and be aware of how much of this heavy gel you're applying. If it's on the heavier end, that it can cause saggage issues if you use too much.
Right.
Okay, so let's move on, I guess, to the next thinner viscosity.
Yes. Let's see.
Okay. There we go.
Let me. Here's.
Yep.
We have this one here.
All right. I'll let you go up. Oh, it's like a magic act.
This was just, they were kind of all done slightly at random.
These are getting a little bit more fun stuff. Like we got glass beads here, natural sand,
and I don't know
crack.
look at how this is dry right here. Don't touch the other part, but this is dry here. But you can see those glass beads, and with the after shots, when it's all dry, you'll really be able to tell. I mean, that gives you some really nice refraction of light. Now, if you're gonna take an opaque paint and put it in there,
you're going to lose all that.
You're going to lose that. So this is where you're either wanting to kind of put it on over the top of it, or if you're using like pearlescence or iridescence or something else that's still going to allow that light to kind of sink and go through, or more of the transparent paints, thinning them out.
Yep, with an acrylic medium, not water.
Yes, exactly. Then that's going to still allow that light to come through and those glass beads to kind of shimmer. It's a very neat little, I don't know, it was kind of fun. It was fun to play with, and I started thinking, wow, I could do this with that. I could do that with that.
It inspired you.
Yeah.
Now, the golden hard molding paste, as I remember, that stuff's pretty heavy.
Yes.
Like, I remember a jar of that.
It's
it's pretty heavy, which also means it's going to build very high. But that's that trade-off.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Definitely.
And crackle paste, crackle?
Yes,
crackling?
it just very specifically is designed to go on and crackle like that. And this is, you can see in the center how it's still not completely set up, but around the outside as it's dried, you've got that really nice crackle that will probably pull a little bit further apart as the middle part dries.
And simply enough, this is just, if you want that to happen, if you want crackling, if you want to give it more of an antique look, you're painting, or whatever your application. This is a very specific medium for a very specific task, which is to give you these fracture lines that you see going on.
Yep, and then you've got the sands. That's the natural sand is very thin. It's like a very, very super fine beach sand, and then the resin sand is more like a regular beach sand.
Okay.
So and those are heavy, and the natural sand was heavy, but that resin sand was like a very hefty jar. So just another medium to be using with a much sturdier support.
Okay. All right, so the last one we have is probably one of the most fun. The lower viscosity mediums that have some really interesting characteristics to them. So let's fish that out. All right, we'll switch off here. Teamwork, Amy.
All right, so we're going from thicker back down to thin and fun. Some other little fun doodads. So
okay, so this is the paste to keep you regular.
Yeah.
Fiber paste. Don't eat it.
Yeah, that would be.
Now there's actually like paper pulp fibers in that, right?
They are not going to specifically say, because then everybody would run out and make their own. But
right.
But it's designed to give you that texture and feel of like a handmade watercolor surface.
I see.
So you could actually take it, and there are mediums that you can add to your acrylics of any viscosity that you can actually make them perform just like a watercolor. It's like it's a tension release.
But you don't want to use watercolor.
No, but I mean you
on
could put that on a canvas.
Sure.
because it's got the resins and it's going to be
thin.
flexible. You could thin your paints, make it look like watercolor. It's still all acrylic.
I see.
So and that would give that kind of absorbency, more absorbency to it. I mean, you feel it here where it's dry. You can feel it feels very
porous.
much like
And like watercolor paper.
yeah. So and then there's also some Golden makes a specific besides this another type of thing that's a watercolor surface that you can put on whatever. So there's ways to actually push this. You know, if you do watercolor but you want to do acrylics but you want them to still kind of look like watercolor because you can varnish it, not frame it.
Right.
You know, there are all these neat things that you can do to still kind of have that effect. So, and then this is Liquitex's kind of answer to, this is just called a blended fiber. They specifically say this gives you a watercolor like paper surface.
It feels different. This is definitely a little
There's
bit
more resins in it.
Yeah, a little
See
bit
how it's shiny?
smoother
Yeah.
and shinier, and this has that
Yes.
the paper feel.
Yes.
That's interesting. Okay.
So, and then this, I mean, feel that. It feels just like stucco.
Wow. Yeah.
It's very cool. You can make something look like a building. You could take a panel, make it look like a wall, and then paint on it, so it would look like a mural.
Brick
Yeah,
and mortar.
yeah. It's really kind of neat to apply. Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
it's heavy though, so you definitely want it more on a panel. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So we got some impasto medium here, which is it's similar to a heavy gel, right?
yeah. It's just building that body so that it's super thick, so you're applying it. You know, so if you've got a softer body paint, you could push it and make it seem like a very heavy body. Even if a liquid acrylic or ink you could put in that, you know, and be able to give you the body of a thicker acrylic.
The Matisse won't tint your paint like the way some of those ones with talc and stuff will, but it will give you that heavier body. This is interesting.
Yes, we're going to play with that in a
Ooh.
few minutes after we look at this, because I know you don't like to get messy, and so I thought it'd just be
This
really
would
fun to
just be
make you do
perfect
it.
to throw me into the string gel zone.
Throw you under the string gel bus.
The string gel bus.
Yeah. So you can just mix whatever color you want with it. It gives kind of a ropey consistency. You can see some of it leveled out where I kind of crisscrossed it, but you know, it's still got body to it. It still has texture to it when it dries. So you can add that to any colors. You don't have to add very much.
Yeah. So out of the tube, this or jar, this
Yes.
is clear or
It's-
white and
it's-
dries clear, but this is tinted.
I've heard people refer to it as boogery.
Boogery.
Yes, I thought I'd.
Well, who
I'd
doesn't
throw
wanna
that,
paint with
I'd,
that?
I'd throw that down for you because now it will bother you even more.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just
touched
we'll be able to see that in a minute. We'll
Okay.
tint it so it's easy to see.
Self-leveling gel. Clearly, that's what it does.
Yes, I just poured it on and let it go.
Wait, you let it do what?
It just slowly rolled right out.
So if you want to make sure that your paints are going to that kind of portrait smooth, plate smooth.
No, because this does have some body to it. You're going to use just one of the regular painting mediums to do thinning for that. This gives you some body, but with this really nice high shine, because it is a clear gel. So it's going to have gel means
see.
that there's body to it.
So there's still body, but you will not get any peaks.
Yes,
That's what it means.
Yes,
Okay.
it's not going to be like these impasto mediums and
And
stuff.
as you can see, you know, where Amy took the palette knife to pull these out, she just laid this right on here, and it just leveled
Yep.
out on its own.
Yep, and then the clear tar gel is, I mean, feel how nice and shiny and slick that is.
Yeah, what is tar gel?
It basically, as you're using it, it feels like, you know how tar looks level, like, you know, the dinosaurs would be walking along and it looks level, and then they slowly just start to sink in. It just has it has some leveling capabilities of this, but it's not as instant. But so when you put your strokes on, when you're painting just with the straight paint, it's going to kind of force them to kind of slowly flatten, not as much as this.
Okay, so this is the step.
Yes.
This is the max level leveling.
Yes, if you still want some body to your paint, you don't want it to be, you know, as transparent a layers as just a fluid medium would be, that would give you more of a glazing aspect.
Okay.
It's going to help level some.
Now, these are the fun
Yes.
special effects colors.
Yes. So I got 2 iridescent mediums because whenever you get that with different brands, they're very different. So you can see the blue was not quite set, and that picked up a little bit. But this is Matisse's versus Liquitex's. Just 2 different versions of it. Theirs is a little glossier. Theirs is kind of a little more satiny, which
Satin
I
finish.
like that look a little bit better. You can kind of see through it, the color really nice. And then we've got white opaque flakes, which is
So this is dry over here. And
This is dry,
It
yes.
added a little bit of gloss.
Yeah, a pretty good
But
amount
the white
of gloss.
flakes are not going to turn clear.
And then you've got the black lava. So I did it on color to see. I was just curious more to see if you can actually see it.
Right.
Which surprisingly you can, even on that darker blue. And then, and this is a mineral blue in case any people always want to know what color you used. But, and then this is over white. I did it thick to see and then thinner to see kind of what it looks like.
Now with these, again, you can mix your paint into it. It probably, you're still going to see black flakes in your paint. You probably still see white flakes in your paint if you, I mean, this might, depending on the staining power of the pigment.
Yeah, and that's something you'd want to play with before you just applied it and then we're like, where did they go?
These are mainly meant to be used on their own or over top of your paint.
Yes,
To
definitely.
give it a special effect.
Right.
This is a very snowy Christmas scene.
Yes.
Right here. And the iridescence, if you were to add this to, let's say, a transparent color, I don't know, like cobalt blue maybe or something, you'd get a little bit of that iridescent
You
color.
still should get a pretty good amount, even with a more opaque paint. It's going to give you that, you're going to have to use more of it, obviously,
right.
but it's going to give you some iridescent
But
color to it.
if you paint, but kind of the opposite of the other things, if you paint over it, you're going to get, it's going to tint it a little bit. So that's kind of the opposite of how those modeling paste and heavy gels were before.
Yep.
Okay, I think we need to play with stuff.
Okay, that
I don't know
sounds
what,
good to me.
but hopefully it's art related.
All right. Well, I want to start with the black lava on a little white canvas.
Sure.
And the white flakes on a black one, just so people can see as you're applying it kind of what that looks like.
All right.
We're going to use the small one for someone use the larger one for pouring. All right, so first we will let you use the...
Ooh. So this is that black lava, and we're just going to apply some over here. Now, as you can see, this is the same stuff that we just looked at on that board. While it's wet, you're going to have that kind of milky look to it because the acrylic polymer is still retaining water. So once it dries, it will dry clear.
Yeah, see when you make a nice long pull where you don't have as much of the resin in there, you can really see the black.
Yeah, that's cool.
Here.
Oh, you want some too?
No, I just didn't want to.
And depending on how thick you apply it, the longer or shorter the drying time. And of course, atmospheric conditions.
Yes, well, and the more it's going to be a lot more black once it's dry and that kind of milkiness goes out of there. The where you've got these kind of areas, you can see just it's more speckly, like you've either dumped the pepper or sprinkled the pepper. Kind of. That's what it looked like to me. It was actually kind of looks like pepper with a nice shine to it.
So okay. So let's go ahead and apply it to the black or.
Yeah, we're gonna do the white one to the black one.
White. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then what I'm going to do is, so I want everybody to make sure they get a good look at that. And then what we'll do is we'll let it dry, or I might hit a hairdryer to it, just so we can kind of see some of that transition. Okay, so now we're going to do the... All right. Now this stuff looks kind of like pudding, like tapioca pudding. Like but when it dries, the little bumps in there that you see...
When you pull it out, you'll be able to see it.
Oh, it's like...
Yeah.
It's like painting with oatmeal. Rice cereal.
Yes, it is.
We've only just begun. It's actually really, you can feel those little bumps in there, but it pulls out really nicely. And let me apply some thin applications. Okay, and thick. What's this?
You could spread it.
I can spread it with a little brush.
Why not?
I don't know. All right.
See how brushable it is.
That brushes really nicely. Okay, so the gel, the gel feels very much like an acrylic, but those flakes give it, they're not, gunking up on my brush in terms of it doesn't feel like it's like, painting with sandpaper or anything. It still feels very smooth. But yeah, I can pull that out.
Yeah, then it makes it a little easier to see the...
Now, the black gesso of this canvas is very matte, so when this does dry, you will see some sheen because it's a glossy gel. But it will turn clear, and you can always go over it and varnish the whole thing so you have a unified sheen. when it's all said and done.
Yeah, and if you like the matte, you can varnish it with a matte varnish, and you'll still be able to see the white, but it'll get rid of that gloss.
All right.
Yeah, I was gonna say now, try brushing a little bit of that maybe on the edge,
Right,
just to see. As long as you got the brush in hand.
Yeah.
You can feel it's a little more sandy.
It's a little bit more gritty, but it still, moves around
Still very
nicely.
brushable.
Very brushable. Depending on the...
Yeah, see, that's nice. You can get kind of a more unified look to it.
Flipping on the edge. There we
Now,
go.
these two, I believe, are only in Liquitex.
Okay.
Does these two mediums, so.
Should probably move this over here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take a hairdryer of these real quick and just see if we can show a little bit about how it will affect it. So we'll be right back. I'm going to dry this out a little bit. So I went ahead and for the sake of filming, took a hairdryer and dried out some of the things that we were applying just a second ago. So these are the black hex flakes, lava flakes.
It's just called black lava.
Black lava. And you can see that once the acrylic dries, it will really start to pop the black.
Right, and you can see by kind of default that's still thick, so it's still kind of milky.
That's right. And then over here is our white flakes. So I dried it just at the top here, and of course this is actually a thicker application, but you can see that once that gel dries out, the white flakes stay opaque.
Yes.
And you can also see where the gloss has changed the sheen, but again, you can go over that with some kind of varnish. And there's a safety tip that we wanted to share about a warning.
Yes.
Yeah, this is...
Yeah, when you're doing it, this isn't like watercolors where you can hit something with the hairdryer and then it's fine. You can actually damage your acrylics, especially if you've got a lot of medium like this.
Yep.
If that top layer dries too fast, water molecules will be trapped down in there. When this is milky like that, those are the water molecules that haven't evaporated yet. You can actually trap those underneath with drying the top.
That will cause shrinking, cracking, lots of bad stuff.
Even if it doesn't cause shrinking and cracking, it's going to discolor your thing, especially with this where you need those pretty little particles to show through. So we're only doing this just to hasten the drying so you can see this. This is not a technique you would normally want to use.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the fun stuff post haste.
Yes, more fun stuff.
More
All
fun
right.
stuff. I should say more fun stuff. I'm just very anxious to try this stuff.
Yes. All right, here we
Anxious
go.
because I'm going to get dirty.
Yeah.
Anxious
Want
is an
to get to that
anxiety.
pouring meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is going to be the string gel.
Oh boy.
We're going to tint this with,
Paint.
let's see, just a little bit. It's not going to take very much. All right. I will pour this because it gets all over. I get all over me, and I don't want you. Yep. Exactly.
Stand back.
Now see how this, as it comes out, see how it's kind of ropey and...
It looks a little stringy.
Yes.
And as it forms at the bottom, it's leveling out,
Yep.
but it definitely is like a honey kind of consistency.
There, honey, that would bother you. It's kind of, yeah, a little bit thinner than probably honey. All right.
All right.
It may be actually easier to mix it with the tip of the brush, to be in all honesty.
Okay, that's not super thick. Do you add enough paint?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, just gotta keep going.
Gotta keep on.
And see, the nice, cool thing about this, if you want it to be like swirly like that,
Oh, you can.
you could leave it like that, or you could mix it and have it very,
All right. Is that good?
yes. Okay, yeah, no, I mean, you can
Should I-
apply it by the brush like that if you want.
Oh, I got some on my... Oh, that's fun. Make something...
Yeah, I know you're standing is about as far away.
Yeah, well, it hit my thumb and it's bumming me out.
Oh, no. Now it's done. Yeah, I mean, you can draw with it. You could do a painting, then put this on top for different effects. I mean, you could just layer different stuff. Yeah, you can kind of get it going to the edge, and then it's just going to pour out in a big thick rope if you do it from the cup. So
Big, thick ropes. That's what
Yes.
we're looking for. And it is leveling a little bit. However, you are still seeing it sitting up on top of that canvas. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that after I got.
Here, I'll take care of this. So
I
you
got to
don't
take
get
care
it
of
on
this.
you. No.
Gotta get a mess going
Now
on over
you've
here.
done it.
Okay, so as this dries, it will pretty much stay about the same. I mean, it might have a
Yes.
slight color shift as the water
Right.
dries.
These
but
these larger spots are going to level slightly, but these should probably stay, and this will be very similar to that, and it will have kind of that raised effect. So you could do this with all sorts of colors and
I come with a lower viscosity
Yeah.
paint and maybe
Oh, yeah.
just fill the
if you use something like high flow or
reservoir,
or
like the
liquid.
liquid.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Okay, and the very I think we're going to show them the stuff that you can't even find right now. It's so popular is the pouring
Yes.
gel, right?
Yes.
Pouring medium.
Yes. Liquitex. We're going to do two different ones. We'll start with Liquitex.
I thought there was just the one.
Well, kind of everybody else had, and actually, I'm gonna be honest, didn't know that they had that Golden very quietly has a GAC 800 that just I think it's just because this is called a pouring medium. They probably have a patent on the name. They call it a low crazing extender for pouring acrylic colors.
What's crazing?
Crazing is when you're doing pouring, it's a separation. It creates these little kind of peaks and valleys. As it dries, it will get those little things in there. When you're pouring just all the liquid in, this keeps it from doing that to such an extent. So it creates more of a smooth surface,
Okay.
which it does happen even with this. You will get slight crazing. It's just in how when there's that kind of pull as it dries.
Is this the kind of stuff you'd add that would prevent your colors from mixing? Like if you were to layer them on top of each other?
They're gonna mix some.
They're gonna mix
Yeah,
some.
they're gonna mix some. So
All right, well,
you'll see.
Let's
Yeah.
try it out. So we've got this Da Vinci panel, liquid panel here.
Yes. Let me mix you a couple.
Yeah, make me a cocktail.
All right. Just gonna do this because it's easier.
Well, it's for pouring.
Yep. But you can see, you can see how fluid this is. So, and you can put heavy body, you can put any type of acrylics in it. For pouring, the thinner the better. We're going to use actually Turner acrylic wash because that's my favorite. Just it's so concentrated, you don't need a lot of it. Now see, this is whiter, so it'll be interesting to see.
That does look like it'll be a little bit more opaque, maybe. But we don't really know until it dries.
Yeah, exactly.
But
it
we
may
will be
not
able to see how well it tints
Yes.
a color that we'll add.
I'm just gonna do two of these and we'll see what happens. Make show a shot after it's dry. Okay.
Oop. Okay, that was dangerous. She was ready. She wanted to be ready.
And these are all just Turner Color Pearl acrylic gouache. Different
So these
colors.
are going to give a slight pearlescent effect.
Yes. Well, it won't be slight. It'll be pretty pearly.
And you're not adding much. Compared to
No.
the amount of medium in there. Ooh, I like that one.
It's not pink. What?
No,
You like it?
I was talking about this one.
Here, you can.
It looks,
I'm gonna put you to work.
It looks
You
like
can-
I don't know, like cappuccino art when they do those. Those.
Oh
little-
yeah, there you go. Can you make a heart out of that one?
Uh,
Oh, too late.
Too late. No.
See, I could make these much darker and much more concentrated. That's actually pretty dark. I'm gonna put a little bit more. Oh, this color's actually. Make this a little brighter.
Stir, damn you, stir!
Oh yeah, that's scrape your sides. You got some.
Oh, I got. Oh. It's like when I'm making
happens.
chocolate milk at home and I got these chocolate streaks on the side. I gotta stir those out. Bother me. Okay, that one just lives there. All right. Okay. I'm ready to pour.
Oh, look at that. Woo. Pretty.
Do you remember which brand is which? This is the pouring medium, and those two are the.
Actually, I squirted. That's
No,
one of the
these
that's
two,
one of the golden.
these two are golden. That one, we don't really know what we're doing anymore. Okay, so can I pour?
Knock yourself out.
So this is the Liquitex pouring medium, with a little bit of the Turner.
Yes, it's Turner
Pearl
Crow Gouache.
Gouache.
It's the Color Pearl Violet.
Okay, and it's kind of staying in place.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, pulling out.
I mean, it's going to level some because it's for pouring.
Right.
That's what it does. But if you start putting other colors in,
well, that's what we're going to try. So now we're going into the golden GAC 800. Very tentative with me.
mm-hmm.
So what's happening there? It's just filling in.
Yeah, that's just what it does with pouring medium.
Okay.
It'll just it just seeks the lowest, point of.
So if you can't get the Liquitex pouring medium, the GAC 800 can do the trick. Well, let's try this one that looks like toothpaste or something. It's very meditational.
Mm-hmm.
How does my art make you feel, Amy? Ooh, oversaturated.
Whoa.
Okay, that's enough of this. I'm gonna go right over it. Even though there's a lot, I'm gonna
Yeah, no, you can go over it.
Look at that. Just like that.
Yeah, the blue is definitely because see how much more you can see the pearl, where the other ones, the kind of opacity of it's kind of blotted out.
But
Now
we'll
we can
see.
do one of several things with this. We
What
can
can we
keep
do?
pouring and filling it in, or you can take it and lean it from side to side and see what happens.
Now-
Oh, yeah, it's the side.
You gotta watch the lip. This is like a weird. Those like wooden labyrinth games.
Yeah, yeah.
You gotta keep the ball.
Okay,
in.
watch out. It's going to go. There you go.
You
Good
thought I was
catch.
gonna lose
Yeah,
it.
it was close. It was close.
But I kept it going. So cosmic.
Now, see, you can do that, and then we can go and put a little bit more on at the end. Kind of fill in any spots that you missed. It's like marbling without actually having to dip anything, because doesn't that look like
Oh yeah.
marbling now?
Oh, you got me talking like you. Yeah.
Sorry. It's a Midwest thing. All right.
I told you it's like my wife in California. If you want to say yes, you have to say no, yeah, and then no is yeah, no.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just about got it. Just got these corners down here, which I am going to soak. This is really cool. It really gives it a very cool looking effect. Did you just squeak? Amy.
I was like, oh god, it's gonna go over.
No, I am very. Look, I have got.
Hey, we're both control freaks. This is really
I have got the magic touch, and you just
stressful to watch somebody else do. Where you're like,
all borders clean.
yeah, look at that.
Be impressed. I am.
No, see, you can really see where that Liquitex. See how much more sheen there is to it. I mean, you can still see the pearl and the other stuff, but it'll be interesting to see as it dries.
How it sets up.
Yes, how it sets up. But I mean, they very clearly perform very similarly.
Right. All right. So I guess is there anything else you wanted to show?
No, but in looking at this, see how you can kind of see a little bit of kind of bumpy texture.
Yes, that there is a
Let's
viscosity.
fill a little bit more.
Okay.
Just
I'll
kind of dump.
I'll let you dump it. I can't have all the
Doesn't-
fun. Oh, you're crazy. Oh, that's crazy. All right, calm down.
Just because that may make some of the crazing.
That's crazing. That's what I was saying.
Okay, now I did it. That's my
This
fault.
is why I don't share art with you, Amy.
Yep. Look. Ta-da.
All right, and this one just
Yeah. Just
for dumpsies.
yeah. Okay. Now do your little.
No,
Very
well,
gently. Just
now
no.
it's
Just a
dangerous.
little. Just
No, you
just
do, yeah.
okay. So you just
No.
see how it feels now.
Yeah, no,
You
no.
see how
Now
it
I'm Now I'm living in your zone. Oh, is it? Houdini! To quote the Jawas.
Oh boy. All right.
Okay.
Now that's gonna, as it dries, it's gonna
Now
change.
that is level.
Yep.
I got on its
Yep.
level.
See, now you don't have that kind of weird. So because it was only because we didn't have as much in there. Because I mean, you can fill that higher. So.
Okay. So we'll let it dry, and then we'll kind of have a quick little clip of that, I guess, or
Yes.
photograph of that,
Yeah,
so
I
you
think
can
that would
see how it transitions once the acrylic medium's dried out. But yeah, this has been our after party.
Oh, we got one more thing to do.
Look at me trying to wrap it up ahead of time. It was a little premature
One more
rapulation.
thing to do. It's the messiest, so I saved it for last, so you can go, shake in a corner afterwards.
I mean, with the caffeine that it takes to keep me
with.
up here, I'm going to be jittering the rest of the day anyway. So.
All right, so slide that out of the way here. And now we're going to do
Oh, the stain.
an acrylic flow release.
I don't even know what that means. I've
okay.
never done this before.
Well, I mean, release sounds like it's flow and release. It sounds like it's going to be...
That's what I see.
Yeah, quite.
Release.
All right. If you're familiar with, like, Helen Frankenthaler, have you ever seen any of the... Okay. I'm sure you've seen... If you walk into the Modern Art Gallery and there's the great big canvases, and they say they're acrylic, but it looks like stuff has just been poured down it. It's like a natural color canvas.
If
It's
we
very-
can legally
very
show
watercolory.
that, if we can
Yeah.
give that copyright,
Yeah.
let's
that
add a
would
photo
be-
of that. You know, I don't
yes.
even care if it's legal or not. We're giving them credit.
It's got to be what they're using, because it's making that wetter. It's turning it into almost like a stain as opposed to just a paint. So I think we should try it.
Okay, we'll try it, but we'll show you that image until we get a cease and desist.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, there you go.
That's how I
Right.
live my life. Keep doing it. Until we get a cease
All
and
right,
desist.
we're gonna do 2 colors.
All right, so this is acrylic flow release.
Mm-hmm.
And that is heavy cream consistency.
go.
Maybe a little bit.
Is it? Does it feel?
Oh, well, you pour this one so
Like
you can
that?
kind of get an idea of. It's like thick water.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're gonna tint this.
Yes.
And this is all acrylic polymer? No, it's so light. I would wonder, does this dry waterproof the way acrylic would?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It says always dilute with water before use. Oh, good thing we read
Oh.
it.
Let me clean out our water
yeah.
bucket.
Let's.
Way to be prepared, Amy.
Yeah. Well, it says you can add it directly to paint or use to pre-wet the canvas or paper.
I've got a bunch of speckles in this water. Grab the one behind you.
Oh, one of these?
Yeah.
All right.
We're gonna have to wash this. Okay. All right. Get that out of the way. Okay. How much water?
I don't know where I'm reading here. All right.
More cups?
This is actually, you can apparently use a lot less of it than we were going to.
Oh.
We were going to do some serious staining.
Okay.
You apparently don't have to do that. All right.
We were about to stain like a house.
Yeah, overuse may cause water sensitivity of paint film and may result in tackiness. Goodness knows we don't need more tacky.
Not with me.
No,
around.
no.
Well, when
All
they
right.
put it in a jar that big,
I mean, who paints that much?
So this is an additive that you
Yeah.
put in, not like we were doing before with the pouring medium. That's the safety tip
fill
there.
those.
With water.
Yeah.
Now water doesn't have any waterproofing. I mean, there's no polymer in it.
Mm-mm.
So is this going to, just as a practice, create a water soluble final product? We'll find out.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's just breaking this down where it actually makes it so that it's, apparently this is some powerful stuff. So,
Releases the.
All right.
Let's see what happens. Experimenting is
Yep.
what it's all about.
That's right. It's very like it when it gets all messy.
You rub that bottle.
All right. So this may be easier for me just to do with the paintbrush handle.
Oh.
Come over there.
You pulled that out of my stash. You pulled that out of my stash, didn't you?
Oh, I don't know. I
It's been
didn't
sitting there a
get
while.
it. Okay, well.
This definitely looks like a science experiment. When it grows up, it turns into a full frog. It's a pink frog.
All right.
I don't have a...
Yeah, this would be one of those little whisks on a stick would be the way to do it. I mean, obviously, like a acrylic high flow or
High
something
flow.
like that, or a liquid acrylic would work better. But I really wanted to see, can you do it with this?
Whiskey
This actually
business.
is pretty. I mean, we could just use this if you don't want to have to use that.
Oh, I'm
It's a
having
little
so much
chunky.
fun, though, mixing the chunk in with the tension release.
It's just really more to keep you busy.
Yeah, gives me something to do up here.
Oh, okay.
All right, well, that's how you mix it. That's my part.
Yep.
All
All
right.
right. Should we put some, let's do this and we'll turn it. And you can, now this is just raw linen.
So this is unprimed,
Yep.
stretched linen.
It's something I stretched. I'm going to let you.
No, I can't do this.
You can.
What am I supposed to do?
You can and you will. Just kind of pour it down it. See what happens.
It's gonna dribble. I should probably do it this way. I should probably do it this way.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's
sweet
fun.
Release.
What?
It's an original Robert King. I made a heart. Oh, now it has feet. Now it looks like two people. Do you see it? Do you see the people?
Yeah.
And that I can charge $400 for. So just that easy. All you need is a little bit of
Yes.
this flow release, and you can make art.
Yes, now see, I mean, you can see the pigment particles because we didn't get that all mixed. But I
Mixed
mean,
in.
if you used a fluid acrylic, that could be really fun. You could do some really neat.
But you know, this is unprimed, so won't it soak into that linen? And that's okay.
It's acrylic. It's not oil, so
Right.
it's not going to eat it.
It's not gonna
Right.
eat it, yeah.
So it's. I mean, it's fine, and you can see it from
Well, let's make sure they can see it at home. Yeah, so it came through.
behind. Yeah.
Okay.
But because it's not acidic, it's not gonna.
So we've stained
It's not going to
this.
matter. Yeah. So I mean, and she works on these giant canvases. So I mean, that's so you know just using some a more concentrated fluid thing would obviously be the way to do this.
Right.
But it gives you that option. I mean, you can. It's peeing through the back. Now, maybe a thing to do with this would be prime the back just with a clear acrylic primer.
To give it a seal.
Yeah, to seal it just so it didn't pour through, or just have something that was
Not-
like
yeah.
a splash guard behind it, like we don't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I mean, it gives you some options for, you can do pouring and things like that, but it's still going to be acrylic and destaining and all that stuff.
So acrylic mediums.
You can do a whole lot with
You can
this
do
stuff.
a whole lot with
It's
this
crazy.
stuff. That's right.
It's crazy.
Is
So-
there anything else we want to show them?
I don't think so, because we're going to have talked about a lot of these other things that are up here, and we'll have some other examples already done of what they can do in the Facebook Live. So
Okay. Should we wrap it up then?
I think we should.
All right. Well, as always, thank you so much for sticking around. You can follow me on Instagram at Mike, not Jerry. That's how people differentiate the family. And Amy Gardner-Dean on the Facebook,
On the
as I like to
Facebooks,
call it.
yeah.
Yes. And we are so thankful that you've stuck around with us. Let's all hug it
Yep.
out. I don't know why we started this weird
I don't
tradition,
know,
I'm
but
going to go with
it's-
it.
we're
I'm gonna go
stuck
with it.
now.
Did you do it last night?
I think we did.
Oh, great. Okay. So we'll see you. It's taco night, and we're currently eating it. This is pre-recorded.